everyone, this is Sadia the Selecta on the SoundLink channel. It is February 2021 and today I'm going to be talking about the differences between DJ controllers. And for this introduction video, I will categorize the controllers in several categories. So I'll first start talking about the brands that I see in the East Coast that I work with. There are other brands, but I will just talk about the few that I deal with, very popular, like I said, on the East Coast. Then I'll talk about inputs and why that selection of inputs is so important in choosing your DJ controller. Talk about standalone as well, standalone controllers as well as laptop controllers or computer controllers. And software. Software is also going to be very important when you are deciding which DJ controller you want to use. And then I'll talk about the levels. There's intro, intermediate, and advanced that I've categorized them in. So you tell me what you want to hear and I will go into more detail about those in later videos. So as I start off with the brands, some of the very popular brands that I deal with are Pioneer DJ, Newmark, Denon, Hercules, and Native Instruments. So out of those, there's definitely a quality that comes with a lot of those controllers as well as price. The more expensive, most likely you're getting a better quality controller and the price is going to be more. Do I have a favorite? Yes, I do. I'm not going to tell you what that is because I want everyone to make their own choice. There might be a sample feature you like more on the Hercules than the Newmark, so I don't want to push anybody just for the typical industry standards. Okay, that's another reason why I'm putting this video about. I want people to get more involved in DJing. DJing can be for artists, they can be for, singers. They don't have to be just labeled a DJ. It's facilitating music through public address speakers, studio monitors, in-home recording. So when it comes to brands, you can do your research, and like I said, I'll put out more videos on specific Pioneer controllers and possibly a Native Instruments controller. Those are also popular as well. Then it comes to inputs on controllers. So I usually tell people if I need to pair them with a controller, visualize what you want to do. What is it that you want to present or hear? Have it be in the studio or as a live performance? How many inputs do you want? So that could mean, do you want to use your phone? Do you have a lot of music on your phone or a streaming device that you want to play very easily so it has its own dedicated channel? Okay, then you'll also decide, do you want two audio tracks to be mixing in with each other, or do you have a preference of 4? Definitely make a big choice there. And then also mic inputs as well. Do you want a dedicated channel for a mic input, or do you want a controller that has its own section, dedicated section, and it doesn't come into your channel fades at all? Another, if you want to use it for production and you want an input or an output as well to go into a production software or work with another controller, let's say one of the beat machines that you might see, the Akai, the MPK, Lives, any of those, do you want to have an input for that through your DJ controller, or do you want to have an out? I like to say the more inputs you have, the more fun you can have with your creation and DJing. Really, the more you have, you're just layering up your production, and that's what gives sound quality as well. Then, like I said, once you come up with the inputs, that is a huge stepping stone for deciding which controller you want. So they also have standalone controllers. Okay, that was the next category I was going to talk about very briefly. They have controllers where you don't need a Mac in front of you. Huge for club DJs, very professional DJs. They don't want that blocking them from the audience. So they've prepped and mastered their music enough that they don't need a big screen in front of them, such as a laptop. Some people just love to mix. They're mixing so fast, they just want the room on their laptop. It's up to you. It's also nice when it's standalone. You can just set up with USB and then get everything else going if you have an event, anything like that. So those are standalone or laptop controllers, computer controllers. Then the software and the levels kind of work in together. There are definitely more intuitive softwares out there that work with the advanced controllers only. There's light controllers that work with light versions of softwares. There's suites, there's just the entry level. Each brand has their own software. So there are softwares that trump all of the controllers. They're more money usually, and they can work on a light controller. But if you are getting an intro controller, it's usually just going to work with the light version, and there's a lot of limitations on there. So the other option is mapping as well, mapping softwares, which you know, it's almost like a loophole to get around the limitations of one specific controller. So I'll bring that right into the levels of the DJ controllers, and that's also a reflection of where you are in DJing, really. So you have intro controllers for intro DJs, or it could just be used for a backup controller for somebody who's already DJing professionally. The intro controllers, I usually steer people away from them when they're starting to get into DJing or they have an interest in it. Reasons being the inputs and the outputs. So mainly the outputs of the intro controllers are usually RCA. And if you know anything about audio, cables, and sounds, the RCAs aren't the best for PA speakers or studio monitors. A lot of times you can get feedback. Maybe not feedback, you'll get noise. There's a lot of extra noise. There's not as much protection that the XLR would have aided you through a more secure connection. So something to think about. Save your money, get something intermediate or advanced. You'll be happier in the long run, and you're going to have sound quality, which is the most important. Then besides the software being the intro ones, the software will have a lot of limitations on them, as well as the deck. The decks will usually have very small jog wheels on them. It'll feel very light, plastic. It'll have a plastic feel to it. You know, as you go into the intermediates, you can feel the quality difference. It just can hold sound better. It will last you much longer too. You're not working with cheap plastic anymore. So that will bring us right into the intermediate controllers. They usually have bigger jog wheels, and they will have, you know, the options for 2 or 3 channels on there. A lot of times they'll have a dedicated mic section with effects, which is really nice. You don't have to have your vocals come into one of your main music channels. They'll offer usually an auxiliary input, which is so great for phone or whatever other audio source you want to bring in while you're mixing. And just the outputs, a lot of times they'll give you 1/4 inch. Some of the intermediate controllers won't give you XLR outputs, so that's where you might be thinking you want something advanced instead of intermediate. They'll offer some standalone controllers in the intermediate level for you. And you can really get a lot done with intermediate controllers. You can really bring them out in the public, and you won't get looked at funny for having, RCA plugins, RCA outputs as well. And the advanced controllers, they usually have much bigger jog wheels, mimicking the CDJs or vinyl. You can really scratch, you can really get in there and scratch and feel the beat and hear it. So it's really about luxury and preference when it comes to the advanced controllers. They offer DJ controllers that have video as well, video options if that's something you're trying to do as a video DJ. And the more advanced, they'll just have more samples, more effects, more pads. And literally the advanced ones have gotten so far that probably most DJs aren't even using half of their effects that they have on their board. So, you know, definitely fun. If it's a hobby, you already know that you're loving advanced softwares. So that was just a quick run through. I know it can seem like a lot at first, especially if you're not too used to audio terms or have ever used software before, but research every day and you will be super happy. Again, like I said, this is Sadia on the SoundLink channel. Just leave some comments on anything that you heard today or you want more info on. I'll be happy to do a video.